Mail day is always such an ecstatic time when you finally get the chance to finish that new tier 1 deck so that you know that you're slightly better than the other people locals. Trust me, it's a personal issue. All of you should understand exactly how I feel. But then comes something that sparks a discussion. A discussion so great, we have to take an entire video to steal CMO's title and discuss. So, how good is Trap Trick? Find out on this edition of Holy Shit, I'm glad I bought these when they were $11. Ah yes, Trap Trick. This new card right here, that changes the entire way the game is going to look from now on. So, banish one normal trap card, except for Trap Trick, and set one card with the same name directly from your deck. Also, it can be activated this turn. You can only activate one trap card for the rest of the turn after this card resolves. You can only activate one Trap Trick per turn. There are 48 pages, maybe 45, of normal traps on Dueling Book. I sat here and I ran through them all, in addition to the best things that I could possibly think of that would be interactive. And there's some very good honorable mentions, which I'll cover at the end of the video here. But there's a lot going on here with this card. So the first one that you can set off of Trap Trick is actually going to be evenly matched. So I've taken a lot of time in consideration. It's like, okay, so if your opponent sees that you Trap Trick and you set evenly, you're going to be doing this as a means at, of course, the end of the battle phase. Now, of course, your opponent's probably going to out your Trap Trick somewhere along the way, so evenly might not be the best option for you. And this is one of the things I was considering when wanting to add evenly to this list. So yes, you can set evenly with Trap Trick, but you have to understand that this is only going to be good in the best extreme case against really questionable players that are going to be like, oh, well, fuck, I didn't play around it. You know, the thing that makes evenly good is you can play it from your hand, but being able to set it with Trap Trick is just kind of lulzy. You have to understand that this is just one of the many options that you have access to, but in a situation where you're already having evenly in with Trap Trick, and you could probably pull this off in a 1 out of 40 games scenario. That's Value Town, in my opinion. Still a free win that you probably shouldn't have got, but it's still there. Number 2 over here is Impermanence, and this was something that I was kind of thinking about. So a lot of times you have to understand, if you're playing a very heavy deck for back row, or even something that you'd be looking at for Trap Trick, being able to set that one negation for something detrimental to your opponent is going to be very good. Now, you have to be very careful with setting Impermanence, because the clause handing off of Trap Trick onto the Impermanence is it's going to be the only trap card that you'll be able to essentially activate for the rest of the turn. I don't think that Impermanence is any better than evenly setting off of this, but once again, the cheese factor that you're guaranteed off of something like this is not to be disconcerting, because both of these are traps you're going to be playing 3 of. So to meet the requirements for Trap Trick, it's actually insane for what you can do. So once again, cheese factor, Impermanence. Now, the most value you're going to get off of this thing is going to be Heavy Storm Duster, at least for now. So Heavy Storm Duster, being able to blow out the True Draco matchup, being able to blow out the matchup that we all call Trickstar, any back row deck, Heavy Storm Duster is going to grant you this essential blow through and go. And even against Sky Strikers, like, you get so much free value. Can we free? Alright, you guys understand, like, the anime free? Alright, it's really good value. Like, Heavy Storm Duster is just the MVP of these. Sure, you can trick somebody with evenly, but can you say that you in-face trap tricked out Heavy Storm Duster for 2 and smiled on it against your opponent and just went, sorry, man? And you start your turn, you're like, alright, cool. Alright, no, Tom, Toru. Like, be as anime as you can. Now, the next one, an entire archetype was helped out by this, and it was unironically Paleo. Now, earlier I mentioned limiting yourself in effects that you set isn't necessarily a bad thing. You just have to time your trap tricks correctly. Depending on the situation you're going to find yourself in, being able to set that appropriate Paleo card, depending on if you need draw power, spot removal. Okay, I don't even know what the other Paleo cards do. But you have to understand, you also will get recursion from the graveyard for a Paleo as well. But this card helps an entire archetype, and we just came off of a YCS where a 30 trap card deck ended up topping. Like, that says a lot about the current metagame. When you have just general support like this coming out, of course you're going to fuel Paleo. Like, Paleo's now back on top because of this. Like, who didn't see that coming? Now, next up is Nightmare Fuel in itself, and its Trickster Reincarnation. Now, I've jokingly talked about Reincarnation being played more now because of this, and obviously Thunder Dragons are in the meta, it's not going to be that great, but let me tell you the shit grin on your opponent's face when you start your turn. They go Trap Trick, set the Reincarnation, and they're holding the Droll Lockbird. Alright, just let that sink in for a moment. Like, 500 IQ plays, by the way. Like, Trap Trick in Trick Stars is just Nightmare Fuel. Now, the OCG never really got to experience this because Reincarnation was limited to 1 long before this card was even released in Soul Fusion there. But in the TCG, on the other hand, Trap Trick now exists for maximum value. Now, the only real scenario I see this being played in is, of course, you know, the situation where your opponent has the draw. So, take it with a grain of salt. It's just yikes. Danger. Now, with the inclusion of Thunder Dragons in the meta, D-Barrier is a very good one to set. And I was kind of thinking about this, it's like D-Barrier has kind of fallen to the wayside ever since Pendulums kind of made their initial exit out of the format. But now you have a deck that kind of relies on Fusion. And what better than to Trap Trick, set D-Barrier, activate D-Barrier, call Ritual, call Fusion, call any of the essential elements that are going to be an issue to you. D-Barrier is definitely a lot more of the value that I would expect out of this card. And I definitely like, honestly, Trap Trick with D-Barrier is probably going to be, I think it's going to be the best value you're going to get outside of probably Reincarnation, depending on the situation. But I just like the fact that I can set D-Barrier off of this thing for literally no fucking reason. Like, more chainable trap cards are what I want to see. You're not limiting yourself by setting like an Evenly or something like that, which is honestly fine. Now, the next one was strictly a side deck choice, and it was Different Dimension Ground. And we were kind of looking at DD Ground a little bit before this video, and we're like, oh yeah, what is something that you can use kind of like Macrocosmos? It's like, oh, fuck, DD Ground actually exists. Cheers, by the way. Macrocosmos still at 1, but we still got 3 DD Ground. DD Ground, obviously it was there to stop Goki. You didn't want your opponent to kind of run through the massive powerhouse of monsters as you're clenching your cheeks, just furiously getting destroyed. That's not how it works. DD Ground obviously will be something that'll probably rotate back into a format at a later time. But once again, Trap Trick, removing a DD Ground, setting a DD Ground, being able to get that full chain ability off on your opponent, right? Like, that's what we want in this deck, is that chain ability, that strict good removal to kind of make sure that we're winning the game, right? That's what we look for. Next up is going to be Metaverse. Now, I was like, oh man, Metaverse isn't too bad of an option, depending on the field spells and things like that. Like, it all kind of depends on what's going on. Now, how good are field spells at this current day and time? You know, what's the most value that we're looking for in these things? And I'll be honest with you, Metaverse isn't a bad option. It just kind of depends on what kind of field spells you need. Now, if it's something like Lair of Darkness, I mean, Trap Tricking out a Lair of Darkness isn't too bad. But it just, once again, do you need that field spell? Does that field spell make or break your deck? And it depends on the situation. I mean, Metaverse is something really cute in Altergeist, being able to activate out Secret Village, so just more trap cards and things for you to understand, but Altergeist generally like their trap cards, so that's something. And then the last one I want to touch on in this video, Assault Mode Activate. So, if you guys don't know, I love garbage. I loved Garbage Assault mode ever since that came out, and having a more consistent way to get to Stardust Assault mode, I'm so happy about this. Now, this is not good, not at all. This is just my MVP pick of the video, but you know, you're already only going to be activating Assault mode. Activating your deck is your only trap card. Let's splice in 5 more traps so that we can make sure that we can get to that Assault mode activate. I love when consistency is fixed by great things like this. So once again, thank you, Konami. You did me a big solid favor here by making Assault mode activate more consistent indirectly. Now, of course, there are other things I'm not going to mention in this video. All the viruses, all the mirror forces, Artifact Sanctum, Torrential Tribute, Bottomless Trap Hole. There's a lot of other good trap cards, but these were the top picks just for how good Trap Trick actually is. I think the card's nuts, but that's just me. What do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And I'm going to show myself out, guys. Peace. The ride never ends, guys. Make sure you enable those notifications to get the latest videos that are being posted on this channel. Make sure you guys check out VanCole40 for my Cardfight Vanguard channel. And join me and House of Champions on the Zodiac Duelist TV Twitch stream. We'll be interacting with our audiences. And please check out No Limit Gaming and LGTCG.com for the cheapest trading cards on the market. Thanks for watching, guys, and please have a good day.